What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode of the Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Outer Rim podcast, Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 2. If you just watched episode 1, I appreciate you very much. We are now doing episode 2. If you have not seen episode 1 or episode 2 of the Disney Plus series, please do not watch this. Or if you don't care, then you're more than welcome to stay. We will be discussing spoilers the entire time. We do a breakdown, review, and thoughts. And then after this episode, we will be having a call-in section with members of the community. So we do appreciate you very much for tuning in. Those of you, those of you that are here for the very first time or watching me after the fact over on Nerding with 30, we do have another channel called 30 and Still Gaming, which this happens live on Monday nights, or Wednesday nights, I should say. Wednesday nights, because we're missed 2 episodes on Friday, and then Wednesday happened. The third episode happens in just 2 more days. So I'll watch the episode 3 this Wednesday and then do this Wednesday night yet again. So that'll be happening. On this show, I will be giving you my overlook, my thoughts, my reviews. These are just my thoughts. You might like the show, you might love the show, you might hate the show. Whatever it is, it's not about hatred in any way, shape, or form. It's just my thoughts. I've been working in the film industry for 20 years, so I pick out some things, and story-wise, storytelling-wise, a little bit different than other people would. So that's what this show is. If you like it, please make sure you share, like, and subscribe. You can go you can also do super chats during the show. You can become a member. We have gifted memberships right now. So if you're not a member on this and you're watching, there are gifted memberships that you can grab right now off of Stealth Gaming, and myself have gifted, I think, 10 subs or 10 memberships. So anybody that's watching this can grab a gifted sub and become a member of this channel over on YouTube. We do appreciate you very much, and we appreciate the membership gifting. All right. So let's get started with episode 2. Okay. Episode one, I had a lot of problems with, right? I liked it, but at the same time, I also didn't like it so much. They recap obviously episode 1 within episode 2, the very beginning, and then it starts in this one. The way it starts off, we see we see some Obi-Wan appear in I forget what planet we're on. Does it say what planet we're on? I forget if it said what planet we're on. I'm looking at to see if it says it, because it's not Coruscant, is it? I don't think it's Coruscant. In chat, let me know if you guys know. It might be Coruscant. It might not be Coruscant, but it looks like it's Coruscant or something like that. So as he lands in the spaceport, he gets out, and within seconds of looking like a Jedi, remember, it's 10 years after Order 66. Jedi are being hunted down all over the place for the last 10 years, being hunted down by the Inquisitors. The Inquisitors themselves are Jedi that went bad. They're not Sith. They're just basically captured, brainwashed, and they have loyalty now to the dark side because they don't want to die. Okay, so they serve the Emperor and Darth Vader. That's basically what the Inquisitors are. Okay, so he shows up in the spaceport, and within seconds of being in the spaceport, he goes up to a complete stranger and literally says, "I'm looking for a ship. I was tracking its signature." He doesn't show that he's a police officer in any way, shape, or form. He goes up to a complete stranger as a person that's being hunted by the Inquisitors, and that he's a Jedi. He goes up to someone and says, "I was tracking the ship." And the guy says, all ships can't be tracked because radar's jammed when you come into it. Okay. So as he walks through the city, he sees a clone trooper. Now, this clone trooper was one of Anakin Skywalker's troopers. Okay, he's the one that's one of the stormtroopers that stormed in 10 years prior and blew away all the Jedi and the younglings and thank you, Stealth. Thank you. And blew away all of them. Okay. So at this moment, this was the first tension and any tension that I've had so far of all episode 1 and within the first 4 minutes of episode 2. I was like, oh man, is he going to recognize Obi-Wan Kenobi? Because Obi-Wan doesn't look much different than he did when he was, fighting in the Clone Wars. A little older. Okay, 10 years older. But the clone troopers should have, but he was drugged out or drunk or whatever. I didn't recognize him. And at that moment, I was like, ooh, he could maybe know him. And I was like, oh, no. What I also thought this was, when you first heard his voice, I was like, oh, is that Rex? But obviously, Tamara Morrison plays all the characters of the clones. So his voice could be any of them. And I thought it was one of the characters that we thought we would see, which we still could see, like a Rex or someone in this series down the road, because we did see them in Rebels, so they could appear here as well. Which I don't know if it would break anything. I don't think it would. Okay, so he says he actually says to him, if I ever needed guidance now, Master, it's now, right? Because he doesn't know where he is and he needs help. And then all of a sudden, he helps the clone, gives him a couple of cents, and then he gets pushed out of the side because of stormtroopers. Stormtroopers were pushed away, clone troopers were pushed away for the new stormtroopers, which are much more inferior. The girl comes up and says, do you need any, basically any drugs, any spice? And he says, nobody leaves this place, because he says, I'm looking for my daughter. And she says, basically, you're never going to find her, so here, take one of these, and obviously gives him a whole jug of spice, which makes him trip balls down the way. As an Easter egg, this is Ewan McGregor's actual daughter. So if you guys were watching, this is actually Ewan McGregor's actual daughter. Okay. So it was like a cameo type of thing. Why he says I lost my daughter to his daughter, which is sort of a little meta type of thing. Okay, so that's just a little Easter egg there. Okay, then after that, a little boy approaches him and says, "Do you need a Jedi?" So I know where one is. I can show you. All right, for a price. And he says, "Of course you can." So then Obi-Wan follows this young man to this location, and we see this location open up, and we see. Can I just say, I don't know the actor's name off the top of my head. Hold on one second. Let me look it up for a second. The guy who plays the fake Jedi. He was in Eternals. He was in what's his name? Kumail Nanjiani. Right? I butchered that. Okay. He literally plays the same character that he played in Eternals. I shit you not. Okay. He plays this like ego, like I'm better than you. He's like acting as an actor in Eternals. He acts as a fake Jedi here. It's the same character across the board, which I started laughing. So, at this point, he's showing this woman and this child that he's getting him off the planet. Okay, he is helping them, but at the same time, he's helping them by stealing money from them, but also helping them off the planet. He pretends he has a remote control and he shuts the windows to make it look like he's using the Force, and then he pulls the microphone over to him by magnets. It's not how magnets work, but hey, what do I know? A magnet from 5 feet away, that's a pretty powerful magnet. But hey, it's a galaxy far, far away. So who am I to call his bullshit out? Okay, so he calls for it and says, let them free, and that'll cost I think it's like 500 or 2,000 or whatever it is. And he goes off and says, I'm using a Jedi mind trick, and then he says some bullshit line to the kid. He's got Force sensitive, and we need to get him off planet. Wrong. So they're very happy, give him the money, and then he walks off. Obi-Wan, as the Jedi he is, literally does nothing. Doesn't do anything. He pulls a gun on him, which is not really Obi-Wan Kenobi's style because he thinks guns are uncivilized. But anyway, he points a gun and says, give it to me, tell me where you're going. he says, "What are you, a bounty hunter?" And so judgmental. And he says, "You'll help me, yeah?" And he says, "Yeah, sure." And he gives him the information of where to go. And then Obi-Wan, trying to not be a Jedi, being hunted down by other people, looks like a goddamn Jedi. Okay, again, let me show you. This is him hiding to not be a Jedi. Okay, this is him, so he's not a Jedi, but yet he looks exactly like a Jedi. Okay, which I laugh hysterically every time I see it. I'm like, change into anything whatsoever. Change. Okay. So as he goes into this room, which is like a I don't know, a meth lab. Basically, it's a spice meth lab is basically what it is. He goes in, looks like Breaking Bad now, makes some chemical reaction, it blows up, and then the guy walks away. He walks into the back room, and then all of a sudden he starts to fight. Two guys says, "Hey, would you get lost?" He's like, "Oh, I must have took a wrong turn somewhere." The acting in this episode was pretty lackluster. I know Ewan McGregor's doing the best that he's got with the script that he's got. I love Ewan McGregor, by the way. I love, the only reason I'm watching the show right now is because I love Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. I thought it was a great casting when they did it in episodes 1, 2, and 3. I loved just the character that they've made Obi-Wan through the Clone Wars, the animated series. I just love the character. And I like Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan. Now, obviously, you can only act what you're given. You can try the best that you can, but sometimes it's just not the best. Now, obviously, Obi-Wan hasn't fought, you would assume, in about 10 years. And when he did fight, he didn't use his fists. He used his lightsabers and stuff. So this is pretty accurate. When he punched somebody, he's like, he got his hand hurt. But at the same time, I feel like this is Beta Kenobi. Okay, this is Beta Kenobi. I don't think we'll ever see Kenobi again in any way, shape, or form. Because even when we see him, if we see him fight Vader later in the series, it's gonna be bad. It might be cool, but I don't know. It'll be bad because they're not supposed to be fighting. That's why it'll be bad. But it'll be cool fighting, but it'll be bad fighting, if that makes sense. Anyway, so as he's going through, he's looking for Leia in these rooms. He can't find him. He's in this room, and they come in. They like, "We knew you would come. She said you would come." So now he knows it's a trap. He now knows that Leia got stolen to take him off the planet to find him, even though they knew he was on Tatooine and they could have found him at the spaceport. They took a girl halfway across the galaxy to get him off the planet so they could get him here to capture him. Okay? Solid plan. At that point, Obi-Wan smashes the drugs on the ground. They all trip balls. He gets out of the room, and he escapes. Okay? At this point, Reva, the baddest Inquisitor of all, comes walking into the club and walks to the back room because she's going to find him. And Obi-Wan finds Leia, and Leia tries to attack him when he comes in, and she's not afraid of anything. She is just a 10-year-old rock star. Okay? She's ready to fight anybody. So he says, "I'm here to save you." She's like, "Why should I trust you?" She's like, "You really don't have a choice." And they get out. Okay, now we have the second worst chase scene in history, which is hard to do considering they just had the worst chase scene in history in episode 1. Okay, so as they walking through, let me slow down for a second. They leave the place, and then at this point, they cut back to the drugs on the ground. The door opens up, and Reva's there, and she's really frustrated at this time. And she's just aggravated. She's like, "You doofuses, you can't do anything right," basically, right? It cuts back to Leia. And she says, right? Now, the people that defend this shit on Twitter that say, "Well, how is she going to remember Ben?" Right? He actually says what his name is. He's like, "Are you a Jedi?" And she's 10 years old, and she figures this out. Because why? She sees a lightsaber, okay? And says, "Are you a Jedi?" Now think about this. He walked out of a spaceport where people were looking for Jedi. He's in a place where they're also looking for Jedi. He takes his robe off. His lightsaber is there. Everyone can see it plain as day. The little girl who's 10 years old is like, "Hey, that's a lightsaber." right? It's a little bad. It's a little bad. Okay. So he says his name is Ben. And I know what you're thinking, right? He never said his name was Obi-Wan. So that scene that we broke down in the episode 1 where the message that says, you follow along with my father and he needs your help. Okay. And says General Kenobi, right? Never says his name is Ben Kenobi. She says, General Kenobi, years ago you saved my father in the Clone Wars, and now he begs you to help him. He said Ben here. So you would assume that the girl knows what a lightsaber is, okay? Knows that he's a Jedi, and yet can't figure out that Ben is the person that fought along with her father later in life. Like, she didn't put 2 and 2 together because, reasons. Okay? So then all of a sudden, the Inquisitors show up. We have Reva comes out, and now there's the fifth sister, or I think it's the fourth sister, the fifth sister, and the 2 other Inquisitors. And Reva shows up, and she's just angry again. She's just mad. That's what she does. She's like, I need you to give me mad. And she's like, I could do mad. And she does mad. Okay? And she talks to the Grand Inquisitor like she's better than him, even though he's the leader of the group. And she gives him this, like, doesn't want to hear anything he has to say. He's like, you're done. We're done with you. Be gone. We don't care about you anymore. Right? You have a stench of failure. Okay? And that's it. And she gives him a look of, you can't tell me what to do. I'm better than you. Okay? It can't get worse than the Vespas. We still got 4 episodes, Krebsy. It can. Okay? So, as we're going through the episode, she gives shifty eyes again. And I laughed at this because then they put up APB out on Kenobi. Okay? They have a picture of Kenobi. And he looks almost the exact same as he does, as he did years ago, right? So they have this picture of him, and now he's not in disguise, and he's walking around, right? He's walking around. This is what we got. This is the picture they got. Let me show you. This is the picture they got. Okay, where did they get a picture of him? Probably the consulate, because did he get arrested? Did he have a, you know what I mean? Like, where did this come from? Anyway, there's the picture. Now everyone knows what he is. Now this is exactly what happened in Madripoor in Marvel's Falcon and Winter Soldier, or I'm sorry, yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Okay, where everyone was a bounty hunter and everyone came after them, and then they had this big brawl scene happening. That's basically what happened in this episode. They just took a thing that they just used last year around this time, and just repurposed it for this episode. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so as they escape, all of a sudden, Obi-Wan loses Layla because why do I keep saying Layla? Leia. I'm like retarded today. So Leia gets her dressed in a different outfit, and then all of a sudden she's like, well, how do I know you're not lying to me? How do I know you're, that you're not the bad guy? And all of a sudden she runs. And then now the chase scene happens. The second worst chase scene, only beaten by the other chase scene. Everyone's after them, even the crooked guy who gave them the tips. And obviously he knows that he's a Jedi now, and I guess he wants to help him. Doesn't really say this in any way, shape, or form. But the Inquisitors are after him. Don't worry, the show Khonshu shows up. So now Reva is up on the building top, right? Like, she's Batman at this point, where she's like, maybe I can scope him out. It's the most dense city next to Coruscant in the galaxy, and she's standing on one building and knows that he's going to be in this vicinity. Okay, so all of a sudden, she says that the ripped to pieces by the kidnappers of Lola. Having this nice little conversation with him, and he says, well, I'm sorry, the chase scene didn't happen yet. Now who's hiding something? He says, Princess. And he says, stay here. And all of a sudden, the comms pops up, and she's like, what is that? Who is that? Is that you? How do I know if you're that person? Is that picture you? Right? And he says, you're the reason I'm here. She says that to him. You're the reason I'm here. Okay? She's a smart 10-year-old girl, but can't figure out that Ben is General Kenobi with her father. He says, you have to trust me. And she's like, you're not a Jedi, are you? And then she runs. And then the chase scene happens, and he can't catch up to her. No adult in the Star Wars universe can catch a 10-year-old person anywhere, right? It's amazing. It's amazing. So she starts running around. The Quizzers are approaching, catching her. She runs up onto the rooftop. Obi-Wan chases her up on the rooftop, and all of a sudden there's bounty hunters on the rooftop, and they know that's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay? So now there's gunfire happening up on the rooftop. Reva happens to see it, and she's about maybe a block or two away, I would say. Let me count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About 5 or 6 rooftops away. Okay? So about a half a block. Right? Let me bring it up so you guys can see it. Okay? I think she's about a half a block away. She's got one rooftop in front of her here. She's got 2, 3, 4, 5. The gunfire's happening right here. She's got about 4 or 5 rooftops between her and Obi-Wan. Now, she doesn't know Obi-Wan's there, but she's got a pretty good feeling that that's where he is because, she's Reva. She's the best Inquisitor ever. So she knows. Okay? So there's gunfire happening, and then Obi-Wan's a terrible shot at the guns, right? Because he hates guns. He doesn't use guns. They're uncivilized. Layla, Lee, Larry, and Karen. Right? So she's up on the rooftop. She's going to run. She's going to jump off because she's like, I can make that jump. I'm 10 years old. I can literally clear a whole street or sidewalk over the building. Obi-Wan's like, don't run. Reva is now doing parkour across the building tops, right? And again, terrible editing here. This is just a bad scene overall, right? It's to show how nimble she is and how she's running across the fucking rooftops and she's going to catch them. But then they forget to catch them because then they're just gone. Princess Leia jumps off the roof. She holds on, never grabs the other one with her other hand because she's not afraid of anything. So she's falling off the building. Obi-Wan's like, don't fall. All right, and at this point, I'm like, just save her because she's not going to fall. She's not going to die. You're not going to get shot. She's not going to die. She's not going to fall. You're going to save her with the Force. We all know you're going to save her with the Force. Why? Because we know when Leia dies. We know when Kenobi dies. We know all of this before going into this. So there's no tension whatsoever when this happens. She falls off the building. I'm like, all right, Ben, just use the Force and save her. And of course, that's what she does, or what he does to her. She falls off and he uses the Force that he hasn't done in such a long time because he's rusty, which I get, which is probably the most realistic thing of this whole entire series so far. And then I was really disappointed. Because I don't remember her saying at the end, like, this was a bad cut. Like, he drops her down softly. They cut to him. They cut to 2 people on the street looking at her at the ground. And then within seconds, Obi-Wan just comes around the corner, okay? And he's there. And I was like, that's a bad cut. Like, at least jump down like a Jedi or something. It was just a weird cut, okay? And another weird thing here is I thought they missed this, okay? Because in the very beginning, she says, make me float. You're a Jedi, make me float. Okay? Now, she falls off the building, and she floated above the ground. And yet, she doesn't say, you made me float. Okay? And I thought that was a missed opportunity from the writers who she asked to float, and then she almost fell to her death, and then she would have joked, like, hey, make me float. Okay? Anyway, the cut of him coming around the corner was just weird. And now they walk off, and they're at the spaceport now. Or not the spaceport, but the spaceport is closed off. They're at the spaceport. But now it's closed off. They can't get out anywhere. Okay? So then all of a sudden, the guy who was from Eternals shows up and knows where he's at because he saw him on the rooftop and then happened to see where he came down and walked through. Very strange. Anyway, finds where he's at and says, hey, I can get you up there. How can I trust you? Well, you have no choice, do you? Okay. He says, there's a transport 8, right? You can get up there. I made a few bad decisions in my life, but I'm trying to make amends with that, right? So he says, just remember my name. Okay. So he gets them off, and they go off. So the Inquisitors are at the spaceport whatsoever. The Grand Inquisitor threatens the guys and kills Flea, basically, because of what they did. Reva, okay, this is 2 minutes later, is still running across the rooftops. Like, the editing in this episode is ridiculous. Like, they're shooting guns, okay, He kills one of the guys. Another person's still shooting. He's saving Layla. She's running across the rooftops. She falls on the ground. He jumps down the building. He walks to the next location. He helps her up. They walk to see the spaceport, and Reva is still running across the rooftops parkouring. I was like, what the fuck is happening? This is terrible. Then all of a sudden she gets to where the guy is, and he's like, I am a Jedi. And she's like, you're no Jedi. Just shoves him across the thing. Okay. And I was like, what, this is garbage. Like, what's happening here? Okay. Like, what's happening here? This whole scene between Mr. Eternal's dude and Reva is like bad acting with a bad acting scene. I was just like, this is just garbage. Okay. Again, she looks mean. She looks mean and confused. Okay. So Obi-Wan takes the elevator up to the little frigate that they're taking off here. Princess Leia and Obi-Wan are up there. And as they're up there, all of a sudden they hear the elevator come back up. And they have to hide. So she runs, right? They all behind the boxes. And Reva comes up, and then all of a sudden, it sounded like she's like, Obi-Wan, right? And she's like, and I'm like, what is this? Is this like a horror flick now? Again, we know nothing's going to happen, even if he's caught, because we know when Obi-Wan dies. There's no tension. Again, I'm going to keep saying this over and over. There's no tension in this show whatsoever. Okay? So Reva is trying to find him. Now it's like a horror flick. Obi-Wan is scared. He's hiding behind the box. Meanwhile, the girl's not scared. Okay? Princess Leia is just running off into the thing, and she hides in there. She's like, peace out, bro. Okay? Then we have Reva looking at boxes, going back to back. Okay? And he's hiding. And then she says a line. Okay? She says the line of, wait, let me back up. She says one line here, and I'm really, this really pissed me off. Okay? Okay, I'm just going to take you to him. Okay, she says, Lord Vader will be pleased. Okay? Now, let me fill in the gap here for you that at this point, we're supposed to assume that Obi-Wan Kenobi doesn't know Vader is Anakin Skywalker. Okay? Now, let me refresh your memory here. In episode 3, Obi-Wan, before the fight with Anakin, sees the recordings of the security footage and sees that Anakin slaughters a whole bunch of people, okay? And then sees the Emperor talk to him and say, your name is now Vader, okay? Now, if Obi-Wan can't put 2 and 2 together by saying Lord Vader or Darth Vader, and Anakin was named Vader, the last 10 years, you're telling me everybody in the galaxy knows who Darth Vader is, and Obi-Wan was on the planet, even though everyone on that planet knows who Darth Vader is, okay, and doesn't know that Anakin Skywalker is Vader, okay? I'm going to say a hard fucking bullshit, okay? Of course he knows that Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker because he knows that Anakin Skywalker's name was Vader because that's what the Emperor called him, okay? Now, he sliced him and diced him on Mustafar and doesn't know if he's alive, but yet he knows that he heard the name Vader and that he knows that Darth Vader is a person, So how wouldn't he put 2 to 2 together? I don't know. Princess Leia knows that he's a Jedi because of the fucking, lightsaber on his side. The 10-year-old knows this and figured it out. But Obi-Wan, who's, I don't know, 30, 38, 48, whatever, can't figure out that Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker. Okay? So anyway, at this moment, she reveals to him, oh, you didn't know? You better call somebody. No, that's not what she said. You didn't know? Okay. It's like, oh, he's alive. Anakin Skywalker is alive. And I'm like, oh, come on. This is not how he should have found out, even though he should have already known. Then at this moment, okay, he says, he's been looking for you for a long time. So all of a sudden, Darth Vader knows that Obi-Wan's alive, and if he knows that he's there, then why would he not go to him? Okay? And he says there'll be one to deliver you to him. Okay? So obviously, Reva's working for Darth Vader, and she's just a bad character. Okay? Now, all of a sudden, the Grand Inquisitor comes up behind her and says, I can stand the reek of your ambitions no longer. Okay? Okay? He says, I found him. He's right behind here. Right? He's right here. Okay? And he doesn't care. So the Grand Inquisitor says, I cannot risk you losing him yet again. And these two are fighting as Obi-Wan's walking away. Okay? So then Reva walks up to the Grand Inquisitor, mind you, who used to be a guard at the Coruscant in the city. Like, he used to be a guard at the temple. Okay? And all of a sudden, she comes up and stabs him. Now, here's the problem with this. There's no tension whatsoever. Even when she stabbed the dude through the gut, there's no tension here. Why, do you ask, 30? Well, if you watched anything of the Rebels series, the Grand Inquisitor, we know how the Grand Inquisitor dies, and this is not how he dies. Okay? So this is the same Grand Inquisitor that's from the Rebel series. The Rebel series takes place 5 years before Episode 4. This is 8 years before Episode 4. So obviously, the Grand Inquisitor getting stabbed through the gut means absolutely jack shit. Okay? Two things are happening here. They actually kill him, which then retcons everything that happened in Rebels. Okay? Or two, he's not dead. I'm going to go with two. Okay? That he's not dead. He's going to come back, and I'm pretty sure either Vader or the Grand Inquisitor will kill Reva at the end, because Reva will find her ways, change her ways, and become a good guy. And then she will help Obi-Wan Kenobi to go back in hiding, okay? And these are just my speculations. Will help go back into hiding, okay, and take the risk, and she will be the good one, risking her life and taking all the credit, okay? Because that is what's going to happen. But 30 Rebels could be retconned? Maybe. Okay? But I doubt it. Okay? There is no tension in the show. So all of a sudden, the Grand Inquisitor falls to his doom, and then he runs onto the ship, and the ship takes off, and then she stands there and says, Kenobi! And she screams, and she's like looking up at the shuttle, and he breathes heavy. And then all of a sudden, as the shot of him gets closer and closer, it cuts to Darth Vader, and Darth Vader's inside the Bacta tank, or the place where he's hitting here. So obviously, it cuts, and we'll see Vader, I think, next episode. We'll find out on Wednesday. But that's Episode 2. And I think Episode 2 was better than Episode 1, but not by much. Not by much. He's not dead, because that would retcon the new Ahsoka series before it even happens. Well, no, the Ahsoka series, the Grand Inquisitor doesn't chase them, because the Ahsoka series takes place years later. Years later. At the end of Rebels, it fasts forward. Like Ezra and Thrawn are gone for years at that point. So it doesn't retcon Ahsoka series. It retcons the Rebel series. So that is episode 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, I am not a big fan of what happened in episode 1 and 2. Okay. The scene with Vader, it's exciting to see Vader. Yeah, but if you delete Rebels, you delete all the characters from Rebels. Oh yeah, but I'm not saying they're retconning deleting Rebels, is what I'm saying, Stealth. What I'm saying is if they retcon, meaning Grand Inquisitor is just different now. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do with Rebels. I don't think they're going to delete the show in any way, shape, or form. But it retcons. That's why I'm saying the Grand Inquisitor is not dead. Because it's easier to bring him back alive than it is to retcon fucking Rebels. You know? So it's sad. It's sad. Again, as a Star Wars fan, I really want to like this show. I do. Because I really thought The Mandalorian was like so far the best series. Boba Fett was a shit series. And this one right now could be such a good series, but they're riding the line of retconning certain scenes and major plot points that happened in episodes, the original trilogy, okay, in the original trilogy, and also what happened in Rebels, which is canon, okay, and they're doing a lot here where it could fuck it up. Now, obviously, they could fix it by the end of the series, but the fact that they do this and then fix it, like for instance, okay, if they Stealth, thank you very much with the gifted sub memberships. Again, appreciate it very much. Please make sure you guys grab the gifted subs. Anyone in here that's not a member of our community here, you can grab a gifted sub right now. You have to opt in and grab those. So make sure you grab one of those gifted subs or gifted memberships. Appreciate it very much. Thank you very much, Stealth. So it retcons so much, and if they're going to wipe, like I said last episode we just talked about, if Princess Leia, I don't know why I keep saying Layla. I'm getting all confused with all these fucking L's. Princess Leia, okay, if they wipe her mind with a Jedi mind trick and she can't remember Obi-Wan down the road, okay, to me, to do that while they're doing it in the first place is just to fuck with the fans, and not in a good way. I mean, fuck with them in a way to upset them and upset me, right? Because I don't want. Look, you could tell stories and connect it to the original trilogy. You don't have to retcon anything and change certain things in certain ways. Okay, so I'm a little upset that they're doing what they're doing, but at the same time, maybe they can fix it by the end of the next 4 episodes. Going into this. Overall, I thought this episode was like a 7.5, 8. Okay, just a little bit better, just on the pacing and what it was, a little bit more action. But I really don't like Obi-Wan off planet. Now I said this way before we even started this series. I said, what are they going to do with the Obi-Wan series? Is it just going to be him on the desert? That's basically what Boba Fett was, right? And it would have been really shitty if we're just like we're on the same planet for 3 series. Right, it would have been bad. So it's interesting to see where they're going to go with this. Now, obviously, the headcanon that we all have in our heads is better than what we're going to get. Right, I know a lot of people are thinking that Cal Kestis might make an appearance, but if it does, it might fuck up the future of the next Jedi. What the hell's the what is it called? Jedi Order Survivor, or whatever it's going to be called. Right? Like, it could screw something up over there. And I don't know if I want to see Cal Kestis in this series. We can see him later on down the road. But again, if you see him in like Mandalorian, it would also fuck up the TV series or the game. Because then how many years? It takes place 5 years after that game. Meaning, the first game took place 5 years after Order 66. Which means this takes place 5 years after Orders, 5 more years, okay, which is 10 years, which is the same time frame as this series right now, okay. So it'd be interesting to see what happens it'll be interesting to see what happens. Krebsy says, no, Cal, I think Cal now shows up in Mando Season 3. I don't know if he does because the game's not coming out until next year. February when the show comes out. I don't know when the game comes out. If the game comes out before the show or during the show, then maybe. Because if he's in the show, then obviously we know what happens in the video game. We know you don't die or nothing happens bad, and then there's no tension there as well, right? Obviously, you're the protagonist and you're controlling the character, but still things could happen in the game to move the story along, right? So we'll see what happens there. Overall, I'm a little iffy. I'm a little iffy what's going to go on with the next 4 episodes. Episode 3 is this Wednesday. We will have a breakdown of episode 3 this Wednesday. I do appreciate you very much for coming out with all the gifted subs tonight. This is not over. We're not switching. I'm just going to end the series tonight. I'm going to stop the record button on my end, but we're staying live on this channel right here. The credits are going to roll, and then we're going to come back and we're going to have call-ins right now. Let me know what you guys think of the show in the live chat, also in the comment section down below. Do you like the series after two episodes? Are you a big fan of the series? Are you not a big fan of the series? Do you like where they're going with the series? Do you not like where they go with the series? Let me know in the comment section down below. I do appreciate you very much, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have call-ins right after this. Appreciate it.